Trump won, you guys. Trump won. Woohoo! I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I feel like a used article from the cab because I stayed up late. I stayed up so late last night. Oh my gosh, so late. I'm dying. Like, my eyes are burning. My head is kind of throbbing. Took some Tylenol. But yeah, I stayed up until like 3 o'clock almost, through 2:45 or so, and that's around the time that he was declared the winner. And it's, honestly, I am so stoked, but I am still waiting to see which other states he won. I mean, I know he pretty much won all of the rest of the states. Basically, it was a complete decimation. It's a complete and total decimation. He won every swing state, basically every swing state, and he didn't just win them, but he won them by a good amount. And also something else that's telling and worth sharing. I saw this graphic. I've just been watching a few videos this morning on the way to school, but they showed last night, I think it was on CNN maybe, which of course is not a reliable, factual news network. Maybe that'll change, maybe that'll start to change, but for its own sake, they better start changing, because they're not going to be around if they continue to put out fake news, because they're just, nobody buys it anymore. But anyway, they showed a map of the United States, which showed all the counties where Kamala Harris won more votes than Joe Biden in the 2020 election. And you know how many counties she won more? You know how many counties she outperformed Biden in? 0 in the entire country. 0. So just think about that. There's a lot of things to think about or ponder. And I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but there's just so much. It's not so much a matter of these details like this. I mean, I guess it's important. Yeah, it's important, but now that we've won, oh my gosh, that was the most important thing. So, and all the votes, I mean, you can't really see like the total count on all the votes yet still, but they said that Biden got like 80 million votes in 2020, which I don't see any way possible that he got 80 million votes. And so on one hand, I will say this, no wonder Kamala Harris didn't get elected. I think that most people in this country recognized how horrible of a decision that would be to elect Kamala Harris as president. I think most people realize that would be one of the worst possible things they could do. That's like the worst. She's honestly like one of the worst candidates we've ever had, period. And I mean, it's pretty cheap. Obama was horrible. Biden was, oh my gosh, Biden was abysmal. And Kamala was worse. So, major bullet dodged. Not only do we dodge a major bullet, but we landed the eagle. We are so lucky that Trump won. We're so lucky because he's oh my gosh, we actually have Trump. He exists. He's an actual candidate. Think about the old days. We could have had somebody like Bush running for the Republican side. How much help would that be? It'd be like none ultimately. It's just like when you think about those elections in the past, Bush or Kerry, McCain or Obama. And yes, McCain, I don't even like McCain, but yes, compared to Obama, McCain is much better. In theory, I mean, you would think, but even McCain, and Mitt Romney, I mean, like, I like the fact that he's a member, but from what I've seen, which isn't really a lot, but still, it's just from what I've seen watching him, I am glad. I wish he had won over Obama, but my point is, is it's like back in the day, even if the Republicans won, it wouldn't even have been that great. You know what I mean? But thankfully, we have a candidate like Trump. Oh my gosh, like we're so thankful for Trump. Having him as a candidate and as a president now, we're so lucky. We're so lucky he actually cares about the country. And there's so many things about him that are just absolutely true. And there's also a lot of things about him that are complete and absolute lies that have proven to be failed attempts by the left and have been proven, it's been proven that the country does not buy into that stuff anymore. But the other thing is, that I noticed is that where Kamala Harris didn't outperform Biden in any counties, the other thought I had was, well, I believe they rigged the election in 2020 so bad. I know they did. You know, I know they did, because there's just no way that election went the way it did. It was fishy. It was very fishy. And that was the last election we had where most of the country, that was the last election we had as a country where most of the country wasn't worried about election fraud. Most of the country wasn't worried about fishy business. Most of the country wasn't worried about that stuff. This is the first election where we've had watchdogs. We've had people, there's been enough talk, there's enough attention brought to it last election, which came at a huge price, and thankfully we paid that price. Trump paid that price. I mean, I'm not going to idolize the guy, I'm not going to worship him, but honestly, there are so many things we should be thankful to Trump for, because he did so much for us, for the country, not for himself. I mean, like, come on, like, I mean, do you honestly believe that he has run for himself? Do you really think that? Like, of course he hasn't run for himself. Like, give me a break. Like, what does he gain? What would he gain from the... I mean, do you see what the man went through? Do you see, like, seriously, 2 assassination attempts in like a month? 2 assassination attempts? Are you kidding me? That alone speaks volumes. But then just think about what he put himself through from the time of Biden's presidency, where he's been out campaigning. Trump has been out campaigning, is what I mean. You cannot sit and tell me that this man is a selfish, evil man. No, he's not a selfish, evil man. He's a patriotic man. He's a loyal, good-hearted man. He is a man who, honestly, just as plain as simple as it is, wants to make America great again. It's so simple, and it's true, but it's true. And so I don't think that they did anything to rig this election. I don't think they did. I think they were way too scared. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. I'm positive they didn't do anything to rig this election, because otherwise it would have been different. Because that's, this guy's a nut job, man. Total nut job. If they had rigged the election in any way, basically, the results would have been different. But you see what I'm saying? They can do, I mean, I'm not even going to say that anymore. I was going to say they can do anything they want. I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think they can do anything they want now, because there's too much of a consciousness about it. There's too much of a consciousness about fraud. I'm so thankful, and I do truly believe that people are crazy, man. I do believe that in some way, shape, or form, actually I know. See, I know about this, and it's going to sound a little crazy, but I know it's true, and I'm thankful for it. But I'm really thankful that I got to serve in the Board of Elections earlier this year, and get to be in there. And I honestly do think that this is going to sound crazy, I guess. Well, I do. I think actually, honestly, no. I mean, if you think about it, all your actions affect everything around you. The butterfly effect, right? You move a dime, and that causes a chain reaction of, like, so many different things. So anyway, our actions have power, and the things we do have power. The things we do, the things we say, they change things around us. That's just the way it is. And I know that me being in that board of elections made a difference, because I was not in the tank for Biden. I was not in the tank for Kamala. And also, yes, I'll give you that. You know, Kamala was a last minute candidate. Okay. So, I'm sure that affected her, or her chance of winning. I'm sure that affected. But I also think that, and I hope and I pray that America is just a little smarter than someone who's just going to say, oh, Kamala Harris, you know, I really like her, you know. Like, I think people are a little smarter than the average bear here in America. And I think that people can kind of see past the surface. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a total moment, which was, this was the quintessential Kamala Harris moment. This is the quintessential Democratic Party moment. This moment represented the Democratic Party. It represented Kamala Harris. It represented her campaign. It represented all the lies and all the strategies of the left in one simple moment. And I don't want this, I'm not going to let this go away, because I'm not going to forget about it. I'm going to do everything I can not to forget about it, because it's important to remember, because we need to remember these things. We need, okay, have you ever been in a relationship with someone where it's just been a really toxic relationship? And yes, toxic relationships do exist. Toxic is not just a cliche word used to describe people or a relationship. No. Toxic meaning you are confused and manipulated and gaslit and lied to by this person. They tell you they love you, and they do things that show that they don't. They mistreat you. They take advantage of you. They trick you. They manipulate you. They use you. That is what the left has done, and that is what Kamala Harris has done. And I think that's honestly the type of person that she is. Unfortunately, it's very, very sad. But anyway, when you're in a toxic relationship, it messes with you. It damages you a little bit. It can damage you some, because it gets to be so confusing, right? Because these things are happening to you, and you're trying to make sense of it, and they're telling you one thing, but they're doing the other, and you're like, it's so confusing. It's dark, right? It's really dark, and it's what else would you say? It's evil, is what it is. It's evil. But when that happens, you have to remember it, and what happened, the only way to escape those situations is to find enough sobriety within yourself to recognize and say, wait a minute, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good. This is not, how do I feel? I don't really feel happy. No, I'm being told I'm happy, and I'm being told I'm loved, but I don't really feel loved. You have to make so much sense out of everything. It's so hard. My friend went through a relationship like this recently with someone who took advantage of her and just made her feel that way, you know? And it's so confusing, because you are literally trying to figure things out. Like I said, it leaves you stunned and confused. And it's a miracle if you get out of it. I mean, you'll get out of it, because God is good and He will help you. But it's crazy. And my whole reason for bringing this up is, when you're with a toxic person and they do this kind of toxic behavior, you have to remember the bad things. Because if you don't remember the bad things, you'll repeat them. You'll stay in there and you'll go through it again. That's just the way it works. So that's why we need to remember the bad things, right? We need to remember the bad things about Kamala Harris. We need to remember the bad things about the left. We need to remember the bad things about what has happened. No, this isn't imaginary. No, these things weren't imaginary. No, these things were not imaginary. These things actually happened. And the biggest case in point moment I'm talking about was yesterday. Kamala Harris was somewhere at, I don't know where she was, some event, like where she looked like she was in a big place. She looked like she was at one of the places where everyone's voting, right? And so she's there, and she makes her celebrity appearance, and everyone's cheering for her and stuff, because that's what they do. Because honestly, people buy people buy the lie. So many people bought the lie, hook, line, and sinker. And she gets a phone call, right? She gets a phone call, and she's like, "Oh, hey, yeah," and she makes it sound like she's talking to someone important, but it also, you can't tell who it is. It actually sounds more so like she's talking to a kid or someone. Anyway, she's talking to them, and you can't, of course, hear what they're saying. She doesn't have it on speaker or anything. She's not actually on a phone call. That's the whole thing. But she's making it sound like you could read between the lines enough to find out that what's the word here? She was talking to someone, and you can ascertain that this person, she makes it sound like, "Oh, you're voting for me? Oh, that's so, oh, did you vote? Did you vote?" She asks, "Did you vote?" And apparently the person says, "Yeah, and I voted for you." And so that's the line that Kamala Harris is trying to perpetuate here. And so she acts like that's what's being said. Again, there is no phone call. She's not even on a phone. She's not on a phone call. And we're about to figure out why in a minute. And she goes, yes, they did vote for me. And then everyone in the crowd is listening patiently, and they are thinking the same thing. And they start cheering. And as the crowd starts cheering, she takes her phone away from her ear, and she holds it in front of everyone. And she holds the phone to everyone's voice so that the people who are cheering would be heard by the person on the phone. And you can see the screen on her phone, and she's not on a phone call at all. She has the camera app open on it, which iPhones don't do that. And so it's just so case in point, this is a complete and total blatant, just total lie, you know what I mean? And so it's just so obvious, so proof right there. But anyway, I gotta go, you guys. Thanks for listening. So glad Trump won. We are honestly gonna have some much better days in America, and it's not gonna be easy necessarily, but things are honestly gonna be things are gonna be good. I'm not gonna talk about it's not gonna be easy. Things are gonna be so good. I'm so excited. Things are gonna be great. They honestly are. It's just a matter of time, guys. So let's just stay in here, right? And let's just get this stuff done, because it's gonna be amazing.